As soon as I got home from my trip to the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show in Seattle Retro Gaming Expo, I got there and my friends were there and they were like, okay, time to go. I was a little bit late. There was just all this traffic. And having to drive my car from Bremerton to a place, Scuttlebutt, over in Everett, was an extra 4 hours of work, of driving. And that was just kind of frustrating. But I was able to make it back, and my friends immediately picked me up, and I told them, well, I don't have a swimsuit. I don't go swimming very often. And they're like, okay, we're going to Walmart anyway, and you're buying some food for us anyway. So we went to Walmart, and I bought a swimsuit, and I bought them some food. And that sounds really weird, but you have to understand that we were about to head to a theme park, and they paid for me to go. And the first thing we discovered was nobody knew where Silverwood was. They were expecting some big signs, and instead it's Idaho, so there was like the small sign like this way to Silverwood. So we missed the turn at first, and then we had to double back and head back in. And I thought it was really cool because I got to see a buddy of mine who I haven't seen in years, literally a decade. I have not seen him in a decade. So I got to see him again. I was all happy. And, he lives in the Netherlands now with his wonderful wife, Tirsa. And they told me, well, we're going camping. And, these are kind of the type of folks that think sleeping in dirt is a lot of fun. Like, literally sleeping in dirt. They'll be like, well, it got too hot in the house, so I slept on the dirt. In Coyote's game, but, they're not going to hurt me too much. Just that kind of folks. So I didn't really pack a lot. I packed enough, and honestly, I kind of screwed up in some spots, and I'll tell you where. But we got there, and we found out that there were no trees because it was actually an RV park where we were camping. And they put up some tents, and I slept in the car and slept about, dreamt that I was the doctor or something like there unto it. And then we got our parking tickets and all that stuff. So we went in, and while getting the parking tickets, I discovered this nice 1920s love tester. Check it out. Ooh. And I discovered some nice flowers. And we went in to Silverwood Theme Park. Yeah, by the way, this is the RV park right there. Not that interesting. This is my buddy. He's selling bow ties now. And yeah, that's a really hairy face, but you have to understand he's been kind of grunging it a bit. But it is a beautiful, beautiful area if you ever get the chance. And it turns out it wasn't open yet, so we drove around and we found this place called Triple Play, and I was like, hey, let's stop over, see if they're open. And they weren't. So we ended up at one of those hippie grocery stores, wonderment of herbs type place. And they bought some stuff, I didn't. But they wanted me to get a picture of one of them. That's Miko. And we got what we could. Yes, it's the type of place that has kombucha on tap. Kombucha on tap. So that should tell you what kind of place it is. The kind of place with one of those water towers, and only it doesn't work, so it's got a little Buddha in it. And then we went to the donut house and bought some donuts. And it was actually a really nice place. And I enjoyed what we got. I can't remember. Oh, yes, I got a bacon-covered maple bar. And it was quite tasty. And I needed the protein because I knew I was going to have a big day and I needed some protein. And all I had was some peanut butter, and I was kind of hungry and tired. I mean, I had just done 2 conventions in a row, and they were like, oh, we got to get up early in the morning and we got to do this. And it turns out nothing was open when they woke up. And so we went back to Triple Play when it was open. It turns out it's a family entertainment center. It's an FEC to those who are professionals, and they've got little TVs and stuff. And so I was like, I'm going to take some pictures. And it turns out they've got a full-sized arcade. That is so cool. And, you know, they had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This means that I can play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles without having to drive to Seattle, which is a lot closer. You know, an hour away isn't that far to go play some modern arcade games. There's some modern arcades in Spokane as well, and I'm just that those things are also an hour away, but it's actually pretty convenient for me. I wish there was something closer, but you know that's what I've got. And you know they've got a lot of the modern games. They've got the Jurassic Park. This is actually a really cool thing. You can pan for gold in it, and I took some artsy shots of it. And this is the indoor mini putt golf, and I went around and I took pictures of as much as I could of the show or of the arcade. I wasn't expecting to find it, and they had a special edition Dead Storm Pirates. A friend of mine, ex-fiance, or not fiance, ex-girlfriend actually, loved this game, and the special edition is just kind of would have just amazed her. So I hope someday she can see that. She's not talking to me right now. It's okay. It happens. And you know, just enjoyed the arcade a little bit. And then they got bored. They were like, my friends got bored. They're like, oh, there's nothing to do here. I'm like, look at this arcade. Isn't it amazing? I'm going to make this into my background on my phone. It is, by the way. And, you know, I walked around, took as many pictures as I could. This is all up on my Facebook page, Triple Play. So you guys can check that out. And we took a look at the ropes course, and they were like, oh, yeah, let's do this. And I was like, I don't want to. I'm just not up to it. I'm just not feeling particularly awake. And I'm not going to do the climbing thing. But here's the Raptor, the inside of the Raptor head. Do not touch. Stanley loves attention, but please but please respect his space. Let's just read that. Stanley loves attention, but please respect his space. Do not touch. And you know, I'm going to respect his space. But you know, the ropes course looked like a lot of fun, but we decided to do the laser tag instead. And it's right next to the ropes course. So, you know, I took quite a few pictures. And I got in, and I was on Team Red. And I immediately figured out everything. It's all basically a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth system. Those are connectors telling what is doing what. And seriously, it's a very, very simple system. And it's just photosensitive light systems there. And I took some pictures, but they're not the greatest pictures in the world. And I made a mistake. The reason why I sucked so bad is, and this is the honest truth. By the way, I was player number 23. I was player number 16. The reason why I was so bad was I didn't know I was supposed to shoot the other team's base, not just put my gun against it. I didn't know that, so I captured the base multiple times, but I lost to it because I made a mistake. But here's the panning for gold thing. And look very carefully, and yes, that's right, you can actually pan for gold. You buy some dust, and you can get some gold dust. And I decided to go through the area, but it turns out the bumper cars were closed. So here's a video. I kind of want to take my moving tripod to this place. Actually, I want to take it to all the arcades I know of, so then people can get the experience right there. And there's also a little water park, and it looks like a lot of fun. I mean, not as big as Silverwood, but still kind of fun and pretty cheap, so it would be easier to go here. And by the end of the day, we were like, or we pretty quickly said, we should return here sometime. We were preparing for Silverwood, but this is a place we should go check out later on. You know, another week, another time, another chance. They've got water slides too. And then we arrived at Silverwood, and we looked at some of the parks and stuff, and I discovered that I was... Oh, wait, no, this is still triple play. That's a... You get the idea. That's bumper boats with squirt guns. They had other stuff. And then we arrived at Silverwood, and you actually park, and you have to go underneath this long hallway, and you end up at the entrance, and you have to get your stuff scanned. My buddy Yoshi just had a picture of all of our QR codes, so that was pretty fast. And we went around, and the center area kind of has this old-timey feel to it. And there's the water park, and there's a bunch of flowers. But we went into the roller coaster area, and I knew exactly where the arcade was, even though I only barely knew there was a retro arcade. They just followed me, and we followed the retro arcade. Turns out this is where the lockers were. So they're like, well, follow Keith. He knows where the arcade is. And sure enough, my sixth sense brought us to the arcade. And it's a pretty classic arcade. I mean, these two games were made in the 80s, to give you an idea. But versus Duck Hunt, that's pretty impressive. I don't see that very often. And, I see arcade games all the time. And this is a fishing game. It's a pretty different game from modern American understanding, but it's very common in China and parts of Japan. And their prize desk. And I was just like, oh, cool. Make sure to take pictures of the arcade, because you never know when you're going to get this chance. And this is where we rented a locker, and it turns out we made a mistake. And I'll tell you the mistake. The mistake was we thought that that we could get to this locker while wearing our swimsuits only. And it turns out the Silverwood is in fact 3 separate theme parks combined. And they had different rules. And so we had to switch lockers, and that was a real annoying thing. But I noticed that there were some, fair games as well. Hey, look, can you spot Waldo? And I took a bunch of pictures of the fair games, and we went on some roller coasters and stuff. But I gotta tell you, I just wasn't into it. I wasn't ready. Check this out. I think I could watch this for hours. So yeah, I took pictures of the fair games, and all of this is on my Facebook page, Native Video Gamer, on Facebook. So, just look that up and you'll find it. Light system shooting gallery, just like you'll find in Cabela's or other places. Or at the pier in the Seattle tourist area. So, it was a pretty cool setup, and I really liked it. I like the Cars reference there. And some pretty basic fair games, honestly. That Xbox One will probably never be won. And bumper cars. And about this point, we were like, this is all the same as triple play right here. And what if you don't want to ride the big rides? This might actually be the better choice. Oh, I didn't see those squirt guns until now. Very nice. And the Vlog Flume ride is a lot of fun. It splashes you, but who cares? I wanted to ride it. But if I were being honest with you, I did not enjoy the roller coasters. I was too tired. I was just exhausted. My adrenaline had gone away. So I took pictures of flowers, as many as I could, and the cool cactus. I just like the tree, the bush, sorry. And I took pictures of flowers. I actually refused to go onto this one. My friends were like, "Oh, you're just being a baby, you're just being a baby, you're just being a baby." They came back, they're like, "It's probably a good idea you didn't do that." I was like, "Yeah, it was very obvious that I wouldn't make it. I would actually, like, not thrown up, but it would have knocked me out. I would have had to go to the hospital." And I was like, "No, I'm not doing that." But the roller coaster area was pretty nice, if I were being honest. And I actually went back to grab my camera to take pictures of stuff. And this was the toy area in the central area. And nice green pastoral area. Very nice. I actually wanted to walk down it a bit. But the water slides beckoned. And really, this is a terrible shot of the two best water slides rides. But that's the best shot you can get. And I made a mistake because I didn't know that you have to go through the trading company to get to the central theme park area. And I kept getting lost, going, where is it? I can sense the video games over there, but I can't get to them. Where is it? I was expecting the gate. Instead, I had to go through the trading company. We had to go through a couple times because they found out they had to switch lockers and stuff. And it didn't bother me too much. Yeah, I tried, I believe it was Timber Terror, and it was fun, but I just wasn't up to it, health-wise. But this area, oh man, I really wanted to walk down it, and I didn't get the chance. So next time I'm in Silverwood, I'm actually going to go into the central area a lot more. I'm going to go to the retro arcade, maybe some of the restaurants there, and the central area a lot more. They've actually got a train there, and it's a lot of fun. And I tried out all the water slides and all that stuff, and they were a lot of fun. But I think my favorite ride was actually the river. Was the river floating river thing where you just get on an inner tube and you just kind of slowly travel on it. The only problem I had with it was I needed a longer thing so then I could relax a little bit better. I couldn't rest my head very easily, and that was starting to actually be a pain. Started to be painful for me. And we tried a couple rides, but if I were being honest, I was so exhausted. At one point, I fell asleep while going down a water slide, and we hit a turn, and I was out, and it just slammed me against the wall. And it hurt so bad that, I had to readjust and stuff, and I came back out, and I was just like, I'm done. And we went into the wave ride. It's literally just a pool that has waves, and that was fun. That was like near the shore of Seattle, or of Hawaii. It was actually kind of boring, if I were being honest. But even then, I got kind of sick. I just couldn't handle it quite well. And it's entirely from exhaustion. And so we kind of bought some food, and I ordered burgers, but I ended up with chicken, and they just gave me the chicken and gave me the burger and gave me 4 burgers, and we kind of ate what we could, and I just went, I'm good. And it was cold. It started to get cold, and I was just like, I mean, it's a great time if it's the right temperature at the water slide area, and I would totally recommend that to you. But if you have, any type of exhaustion like I did, where you spent 2 weeks doing conventions, it's not going to be for you. But I enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. I would recommend spending like a day or two at Triple Play and then going to Silverwood. And, if you're feeling kind of exhausted, just take the lazy river, but take a flotation device of your own so that you can have your own length. And we just walked out. Or we finished at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was good. I enjoyed the flowers. I couldn't make it down the stairs. I was just like, I'm not good enough for stairs. I'm gonna take the wheelchair ramp, which is telling. And we went to our parking lot, and we're good. Silverwood is a great place to go to. Just don't do it when you're exhausted. That's my recommendation. I got home and saw that the world had changed around me. Second spring had begun. And that was pretty much it. So that was my entire trip. Silverwood was told to me, I didn't expect to go to Silverwood. I knew that it was going to happen, but it wasn't until a week into my trip in Seattle that they were like, no, you're coming with us. We've already paid for you. I was like, I thought I declined. Okay, yeah, we're going to do this. So yeah, I went to Silverwood. I found an arcade in Silverwood. Yeah. And, I did all this stuff. So it was a long 2 weeks. And I got home and I was just like, okay, got to write notes now. And I got to admit to you, I am still working on the notes, but I just caught up with the videos. Yeah. Woot. So that has been my trip.